In this video I show you how to paint a miniature just like the one in the thumbnail in less than 30 minutes thanks to the 1colour1shade technique, so stick around for that. Salutations ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Maniacal Miniatures. In this video tutorial I'll show you how to paint with the 1colour1shade technique, which allows you to paint very good looking miniatures in less than 30 minutes when you get up to a certain level. You have to be able to paint at a certain speed to replicate these results, but I did paint the miniature shown in the thumbnail, which is this miniature, in 30 minutes. And this miniature, in my opinion, looks great at about yay far away. So it is what we would call tabletop standard, in my opinion. And I think that's a great starting point for any collection, be that board games, be that these are NPCs made for RPG and tabletop games. I have a village project going on, which you can check out here. And yeah, this is the level of detailing that I like to begin with. And then when the entire thing is done, I can always go back and add more detailing with highlights and more shades and texture paints and stuff like that. So you can always go more advanced. But this is a very good starting point, and because we painted to this quality this early on, it's very easy to go back and add very good looking detailing later. So you don't set yourself up to lose if you just use the dip technique, which a lot of people do with shading, when you just dip it into the shade bottle. This leaves some very dark areas on the miniature, and it can feel a bit clunky. It is alright for some people. I do not like that personally. I prefer to be a bit more controlled with the shade, which allows us to go back and much easier revisit the miniature. So, if that sounds like something for you, stick around and let's check it out. So guys, we have here a 28mm miniature in resin from the company known as Fenril. And I'll leave a link to those in the description below. And yeah. Before I begin, I just want to take a quick look at the color wheel here and decide my colors. I think I'm gonna go with an orangey brown for the wooden parts of the miniature, as well as the leather parts. And then I'm gonna make the largest part of his dressy clothes here, I'm gonna make that green. And then perhaps with some blue sleeves to get some contrasting colors on the wheel. So yeah, that's the plan for now. And perhaps I'm gonna give him some yellow hair to tie it in. So what I'm gonna do is apply the Sybarite green, neatly thinned, onto this whole dress thing. And what I want to do is just try and be as neat around the other details as possible, so as to not get any spillover on any other detailing that's not meant to be green. And that's really a lot of the trick to this entire technique, is just being as neat as you can around the edges, so you don't have to use a whole lot of time going back and fixing it later. So I'm just gonna do this, and then I will return when I am done with this. So guys, as you can see, I am now done with applying the Sybarite green, and I just made sure to try and make as even a layer as possible and get a nice covering coat. So what's next is I'm gonna go ahead and make his pants blue, and then I'm thinking I'm gonna go with the Calador Sky Blue. Yeah, that's a nice dark blue, so we're gonna go with that one. Just gonna shake it, apply it to my wet palette here, and then I'm gonna start applying it to these pants legs. And here we are, just trying to apply the blue coat as finely as possible, and not trying to hit the surcoat or jacket or yeah, the thing he has on. I'm not sure what it's called in English. I'm not an expert on these things, but just try and be as neat as you can so you don't waste your own time. I'm just gonna finish applying this, and then I'm gonna show the next step. And as you can see now, we had just finished applying the Calador Sky to his pants, so now he has some nice bright pants. And again, I just want to reiterate that you should go for the brightest colors that you like, so that when you shade them down and don't really plan on doing much more to these miniatures, that they will stand out after they've been shaded, because that will darken them down quite a bit. So this is why I choose these bright colors. And now I'm gonna apply this Jacaro orange to his boots and to his cowl, and yeah, I'm just gonna shake this, apply it to my wet palette, thin it down a bit, and then I'm gonna start applying it and get back to you. So I've just started applying this orange to the boots, and after I'm done with that, I'm just gonna apply it to the cowl as well, to give it a bit of consistency in the color scheme and not go too crazy on the colors. So now I'm just gonna do the cowl, and I'll get back to you once I'm done with that. So guys, just kind of remembered that I got these painting handles. I don't paint so often anymore, so I kind of forget I had them. But anyways, I'm done with the cowl for now, but accidentally I touched some of his shirt or robe, so I'm gonna go back and just retouch that before I move on to do his skin, which I will do with this Kislev flesh tone. So yeah, I'm gonna put this down and get back to you when I'm done with that. So guys, just started on the flesh tone here, applying it to his calf, and yeah, this is where the painting slows down just a bit, because you have to be very careful not to hit all the other parts you've already painted, so you don't have to go back and retouch those things all the time. So yeah, I'm just gonna neaten these things up a bit, and then move on to the arms and the face, and just do the rest of the things, and then I'm gonna get back to you. And so here we are with the flesh tone all blocked in. So what this is literally just base coating the miniature one color at a time, and just doing it as fast as you can and still as neatly as you can, so you don't have to go back and correct too many errors. But this is pretty straightforward. And so we are ready to just paint all the wooden and leather parts with this XV88. Yeah, so wooden parts and leather parts I'm gonna do in the same color for each mode, and I'm just gonna block those in as fast as possible, like so. And then I'm just gonna go and come back to you. So now I'm done with all the leather bits and the wooden bits. I did goof up a couple of times, so I'm gonna have to go back and just neaten up some of the little areas, just to let you know that I also fail and have to go back and fix my mistakes like everyone else. And yeah, I'm just not gonna let it discourage me, and just gonna push on. So that's all the neatening up to do, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and give him some yellow hair with the flash kit yellow, really bright to really make it pop. And then I kind of forgot to pick out all these little leather laces on his shirt, so I'm just gonna go back, apply the brown, and then paint the hair in, and then I'm kind of gonna go back to you, and we are on to the next step, which is the shading. So now I'm done with the hair and the little leather laces. Now I've just put in a teensy amount of blue on the tip of my brush, and I'm just gonna try and hit a little dot in his eyes, so he just gets nice blue eyes to go with that blonde hair. And I can't do that on camera, so I'm gonna have to turn off a bit. So I gave him just one blue eye because I simply could not hit the other pupil. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and oh, we actually don't need that one. Shade him with Dragonhof Nightshade, which is a blue shade on his trousers. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And I'm gonna go Biltan Green for his tunic. That's what it's called, I think, a tunic. And then I'm gonna go with this one, Cassandora Yellow, for his hair, and for his flesh I'm gonna go with Reichland Flesh Shade. And then for the rest of the bits, his shoes, his cowl, his leather bits, and his little hoe, I'm gonna go with Agrax Earthshade, which is a brown shade. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just quickly show you. So I have a special shade brush for this, and I just get some in there It can be a bit hard to just estimate how much shade you're gonna use, but start slow and then build it up from there. See, that was a bit too little. We're just gonna go like this. Yeah, that's about the right amount. And here we just have to be super careful not to get any on the parts we don't want it on, and just kind of drag it into the recesses so those parts especially get toned down. So we kind of get this nice contrast between high and low, which is called highlighting. So we can actually emulate a designated highlight effect with just controlling how much shade we put in. So that's one trouser leg, and this takes a bit to dry, so just be about it and don't lose focus in this part, but just go around, shade it like this. I'll just shade a few parts more and then I'll get back to you. Normally you would want to wait till all the shade is dry before applying another shade, but seeing as I'm trying to speed this up, I'm just gonna go ahead and apply more shade because it haven't failed me yet. Oh, don't drop your minis. That's a bad little trick. So I'm just gonna go like this and just move it into the little recesses. This brush has seen better days by now. And it is pooling quite a lot at the moment, but I'm just gonna control that. Just drag it around, trying to make somewhat hard edge between the different parts. So I'm just gonna leave a bit more green into the parts that are, or rather into the recesses that are touching other colored parts, so around the pants and the cloth of the tunic. I'm just gonna control that a bit. Yeah, and I'm just gonna go ahead and do that for the rest of the miniature. So I've applied the rest of the green shade, and it kind of is obvious, but depending on how much shade you apply to the miniature, it will take varying lengths of time for it to dry. And I just want this to dry a little bit more before I apply the brown to the satchel and the little leather straps that goes down from his belt. And I'm just gonna move apart from that and then just shade his fleshy parts that are not in contact with the green. So we're gonna go ahead and do the raglan flesh shade now. I'm just gonna apply this quite liberally to the skin because I do actually like my miniatures having this nice sunburnt skin. So we're gonna have to be careful when we are shading like this, not to drag the green shade, so we can just suck it up like so and just dab it off onto our tissue paper so he doesn't get green arms. Yeah, and then we're just gonna move the brown around. Yeah, and just continue like that. So that's the flesh shade done, and now we are just missing the brown shade for his orange bits and his brown bits. So we're gonna go with the acrylic earth shade here. I'm just gonna go ahead and film this last part because this is literally the last step in the painting of this miniature. And after that I will pull him off this ugly MDF base, and I'm gonna put him on a acrylic base that is laying right there. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but that is the goal for this guy. He will be going on a clear acrylic base. I've made a video about why I'm so enamored with acrylic bases. I will put a link to that up here. Ideally, you would want to have either a hairdryer on hand to speed up the drying process, or wait in between the painting and the shading. So the 30 minutes, that's not including drying time for shade. It could hardly be that because it takes about 20-30 minutes for the shade to dry. So yeah, I just thought I needed to clear that up. And if it's the first time you're applying shade, you might be feeling quite trepidatious when you do it, because it looks very much when you apply it the first time, but a lot of it will dry up and only leave behind a small amount of pigment. It is nothing like regular paint. So yeah, just be aware of that. And when you're just done base coating the miniature, it looks kind of cartoonish because it's both very bright in colors and it looks very flat because it doesn't have any depth to it. And that all goes away as soon as you apply the shade, because the shade not only tones down the intensity of the color, it also adds that depth to the miniature, which really makes really good sculpts pop and bad sculpts as well. So you can really see if you've purchased some good models after you've applied shade. As you can see, this has toned down the orange quite a bit, as well as the green. I think it was a nice palette I chose here. It was nothing like I imagined I would have done with this guy, but I'm actually quite happy with it so far. And yeah, that's this guy done. And I'm just gonna let this little man dry, and I will put him on the acrylic base. I'm just gonna cut off under his feet with a hobby knife and then just glue him on with a dab of super glue. And yeah, I'm gonna put him in the light box and I'm just gonna showcase him to you, done and dried. So this is with the guy done. So guys, that's it for this week's video tutorial on how to paint with the 1colour1shade technique. I hope you found this video useful and that you found it informational, and that if you did enjoy it, that you'll leave it a thumbs up and subscribe at the red button down below for more related content in the future. If you'd like to share this video with your friends, I'll deeply appreciate it, and I hope you'll do that, as it helps me grow the channel and it helps me create more content like this in the future. So if you'd like to see something else I've made, you can check out this awesome video right here, and I hope you enjoyed that as well. And otherwise, there's just left to remember, in the immortal words of Winston Churchill, success consists of going from failure to failure without the loss of enthusiasm. So keep up that enthusiasm and see you in my next video.